greatest offensive weapon ever unleashed, you know, in the NBA.
Here is Abdul-Jabbar inside against Chamberlain. Got it. Jabbar and Chamberlain.
There's nowhere to block that shot.
I don't recall ever being blocked by somebody who was guarding me. Wilt was pretty good too. Wilt tried to time it and he could really lead, but he just couldn't get there in time.
I think here we have in the battle of the big men already, Bill. We have Abdul-Jabbar trying to...
The aim of the basketball hook shot is to get the basketball in the hoop while protecting the ball from the opposition. It requires large muscle groups with the use of fine wrist movements, so sits somewhere close to the middle of the gross fine motor skill continuum. It is a discrete skill with an identifiable beginning and end point, and it is a closed skill as the performer initiates the action.
The hook shot is classified as a four-dimensional skill by Gentile's taxonomy of motor learning. It has in-motion regulatory conditions, body transport, intertrial variability, and object manipulation.
Key aspects of performing the hook shot include the ability to stay low and balanced, chinning the ball at shoulder level, so on your right shoulder for a right hand hook and left shoulder for a left hand hook, keeping both hands on the ball until releasing the shot using your non-shooting arm to protect the ball, locking your elbow and snapping your wrist. Your arm should brush your ear to ensure that you are not showing the ball to the defender. You should release the ball at the top of your jump phase. BEEF is an acronym widely used for performing a jump shot. However, you can largely transfer this to a hook shot as you use each of these elements with balance, eyes on the target, elbow still sits under the ball, and follow through.
To see where the learner sits in regards to learning, we use Fitz's stages of learning. Stage 1, or the cognitive stage, is the understanding of a particular skill with numerous gross errors. The associative stage is understanding how the aspects of the skill are interrelated. And the third stage, the autonomous stage, is when the learner is performing the necessary aspects consistently and with precision. Our learner will most likely be at the cognitive stage for the majority of this program. Fostering positive transfer is key in helping the learner understand and learn the skill better. This is done by taking into consideration the learner's past experience, making the skill relatable to a game situation, and encouragement and constructive criticism. Modelling and demonstration was used throughout the training program in demonstrating each skill prior to the participant attempting the skill. Verbal instructions were also given with key aspects emphasised throughout the learning program. Verbal cues and instructions were also used throughout the program. These consisted of triple threat position, low, show numbers to the ball, numbers, chin ball, chin, use the non-shooting arm to protect the ball, protect, lock elbow and snap wrist, lock and snap, arm should brush ear, ear, and landing in the same spot as the shot. Verbal feedback following the completion of the skill was given. This is known as terminal feedback. Knowledge of performance was also given to the learner to improve aspects of their movement pattern rather than focusing on the knowledge of results. A faded schedule was also used to help reduce feedback progressively to avoid the guidance hypothesis. 3 to 4 30-minute practices per week were used throughout the 5-week program. The practices were distributed, which means that there were more frequent but shorter sessions, as opposed to mass practice. This benefits the learner throughout the learning program, as it's easier to retain knowledge. The program began with block practicing, but progressed to random practice as the learner became more proficient with the skills. To help improve motivation throughout the 5-week program, intrinsic and extrinsic motivation factors were used. Intrinsic factors such as self-accomplishment were used throughout, as well as extrinsic factors such as encouragement and goal setting to help keep the learner on track and focused on a goal. Progressive part practice was used at the beginning, to help break down the skill segmentation. This made it easier for the learner to focus on just one aspect of the skill rather than the skill in a whole. We used an A-B, A-B-C method in which the learner learnt A, then A-B, and then A-B-C. Whole practice was introduced towards the end of the program when the learner was proficient with the segments of the skill.
Prior to the beginning of the program, a pre-test was conducted. Following the 5 weeks of a program, a post-test was conducted to see how the learner had improved. A transfer test was also conducted to see if the learner carried out the key skills of a hook under the pressures of a game-like situation. A week after training had finished, a retention test was performed to see if the learner had fully learnt the movement. Pre-testing included jump hooks around the restricted zones, 10 shots each hand. This was again carried out for post-testing after training had concluded, and then again for a retention test 1 week following training. One-on-one games were carried out as a transfer test to see if the participant still carried out the key aspects of the hook shot under pressure of defense.
To measure the performance of the basketball hook shot, we used both quantitative and qualitative measures. Quantitative measures consisted of how many shots does the participant make out of 20, 10 on the left side and 10 on the right, and qualitative measures used were base of support, chin ball don't drop, eyes on target, lock elbow and snap the wrist, hand showing diamond.